I overheard my fiance making fun of my body and called it a deflated weather balloon. Now, he's miserable without me. My fiance and I have been together for 5 years. For anonymity, I'll be referring to him as John. John and I have had a wonderful and loving relationship for these past 5 years, and I truly saw myself with him for the rest of my life. We've had our ups and downs, but John has never made me feel like I wasn't enough. He supported me in all of my endeavors and dreams, and our relationship even survived 9 months of being long distance as I'd been sent to another state for work in 2021. I truly love John, and even now, I still love him, but I now have doubts about how he feels about me. A little context. I grew up fat. I had been fat when we met, and for the first 3 years of our relationship, I was fat. This isn't a problem. It has never been in our relationship, but I had a problem with it about myself. I wanted to be healthier and to simply lose weight because I knew it would make me happier. John was supportive of this. He said he'd love me no matter what form I took because it was my heart and soul he'd fallen for. I had believed that as I had no reason not to. John has always made me feel that he loves me and made me feel desired. But now, I've lost half of what I weighed before, and at my age, and due to being overweight my entire life, I have plenty of loose skin. I am insecure about it, and John knows this. He's made every effort to reassure me that he still finds me beautiful and that he looks at my body as evidence of how hard I've worked and how far I've come. He reassures me that he still loves being intimate with me and loves my body, even as it's changed. I felt so lucky to have a man who loved me unconditionally. Recently, John and I went out with many of our friends as we could not align our schedules. Whenever we go out with a big group like this, John and I usually spend the evenings beginning and end together at the party. At some point in the middle, we always split off to go socialize with our friends separately. When I went to rejoin John, I had seen him engaged in conversation with his best friend and a couple of others. John's back was to me, and his friends were all chuckling about something as I approached, but I stopped dead in my tracks when I heard John tell his best friend that my body looked like a deflated weather balloon and that it was hard for him not to laugh when we were intimate and my body moved. I had never expected the man who spoke so warmly and lovingly to me to always talk about me in such a way. John was the man I would spend the rest of my life with. He'd known my insecurities and still loved me anyway. At least, so I thought. Needless to say, I was hurt and angry and devastated. I walked up to him, handed him his ring without a word, and left. I didn't even go to our home. I went to a hotel and stayed there. I turned off my phone and just took a couple of days just to cry out my heartache. When I turned my phone back on, there were messages and voicemails from John and our friends. Most of John's messages were apologetic, begging me to talk and come home. But then the most recent were the opposite. He said I was cruel and cold for ignoring him and breaking off the engagement without warning or explanation. When I responded to him and told him I'd heard what he'd said, John told me that I was acting like a child because I took his joke too seriously. That he was just trying to make his friend laugh. I asked him why he needed to make his friend laugh at my expense by telling him about my body and how it looked to him, or how he struggled not to laugh at me when we were intimate. He didn't respond. Instead, as I write this, I still receive messages from our friends telling me he's sorry and that I should see how miserable he is without me. I'm so cold and a biatch for running off like that instead of giving John a chance to explain himself. I'm hurt. I genuinely don't know if I was too rash in breaking off our engagement, but the only thought in my head, and what is still sticking with me now, is that when I was fat, people mocked me because of my body all the time. I lost the weight only to have people still mock me because of my body. And it just so happened to be the one person I allowed to see me at my most vulnerable who showed me that. I know John's hurting, but so am I. Should I have heard him out? I didn't even allow him to explain or apologize for 5 years. I just shut him out immediately. I still love the man. Those feelings don't go away overnight. I don't want to hear his apology. I don't want his explanation. I'm just angry and hurt, and my friends seem to think I'm throwing away my relationship over something easily fixable. Update, 3 days later. Second, I have left John. I don't intend to go back or try to fix things when it's not my responsibility to do so in the first place. And it's not something that can be fixed anyhow. Many of you said it would be hard to forget that he'd said that, and you're all right. I saw him once just to move my things out with the help of my brother, and despite the apologies and begging for me not to go, all I could hear was his joke and the way he laughed when he said it. No matter what he said, it was all I would ever hear from his mouth. I told him that if he loved me, he would have never treated me like a joke, and that was the last thing I said to him. He's tried calling, but I've blocked his number. I'm staying with my brother, and John's been smart enough not to come by because my brother told him if he walked onto his property, the only way he'd be leaving is in cuffs or a bag. John seemed damn intimidated by that, thankfully. So I feel safe here. Going forward, I know I'll be okay. I will take time to focus on myself, move, and work towards my goals. It will be a good way to let go of this relationship and what could have been by reminding myself of who I am outside of it.